Hallo my engeltjies. Dis alweer tyd vir Siddharta. Ek het gedink hierdie keer probeer ons iets anders. Ek wil vir julle eerder die boek wys hierdie keer. Elke bladsy wat ek lees as my gesig. Ons kyk hoe dit gaan en julle kan my laat weet of julle dit verkies of ons kan dit net afwissel. Hier kom ons nou by aflewering 6. Dis die 6de lesing. En ons is nou, kom ons kyk daar, ons is nog in part 1. Ons eerste hoofstuk was The Brahman's Son. En nou kom ons by chapter 2, with the Samanas. On the evening of that day, they overtook the Samanas and requested their company and allegiance. They were accepted. Siddharta gave his clothes to a poor Brahmin on the road and only retained his loincloth and earth-coloured, unstitched cloak. He only ate once a day and never cooked food. He fasted 14 days. He fasted 28 days. The flesh disappeared from his legs and cheeks. Strange dreams were reflected in his enlarged eyes. The nails grew long on his thin fingers, and a dry, bristly beard appeared on his chin. His glance became icy when he encountered women. His lips curled with contempt when he passed through a town of well-dressed people. He saw businessmen trading, princes going to the hunt, mourners weeping over the dead, prostitutes offering themselves, doctors attending to the sick, priests deciding the day for sowing, lovers making love, mothers soothing their children, and all were not worth a passing glance. Everything lied, stank of lies. They were all illusions of sense, happiness, and beauty. All were doomed to decay. The world tasted bitter. Life was pain. Siddharta had one single goal, to become empty to thirst, empty of thirst, desire, dreams, pleasure, and sorrow. To let the self die, no longer to be self, to experience the peace of an emptied heart, to experience pure thought. That was his goal. When all the self was conquered and dead, when all passions and desires were silent, then the last must awaken, the innermost of being that is no longer self, the great secret. Silently Siddharta stood in the forest sun's rays, filled with pain and thirst, and stood until he no longer felt the pain and thirst. Silently he stood in the rain, water dripping from his hair onto his freezing shoulders and onto his freezing hips and legs. And the ascetic stood until his shoulders and legs no longer froze, till they were silent, till they were still. Silently he crouched among the thorns. Blood dripped from his smarting skin, ulcers formed, and Siddharta remained stiff, motionless, till no more blood flowed, till there was no more pricking, no more smarting. Siddharta sat upright and learned to save his breath, to manage with little breathing, to hold his breath. He learned, while breathing in, to quiet his heartbeat, learned to lessen his heartbeats, until there were few and hardly any more. Instructed by the eldest of the Samanas, Siddharta practiced self-denial and meditation according to the Samana rules. A heron flew over the bamboo wood, and Siddharta took the heron into his soul, flew over the forest and mountains, became a heron, ate fishes, suffered heron hunger, used heron language, died a heron's death. A dead jackal lay on the sandy shore, and Siddharta's soul slipped into its corpse. He became a dead jackal, lay on the shore, swelled, stank, decayed, was dismembered by hyenas, was picked at by vultures, became a skeleton, became dust, mingled with the atmosphere. And Siddharta's soul returned, died, decayed, turned into dust, experienced the troubled course of the life cycle. He waited with new thirst, like a hunter at a chasm where the life cycle ends, where there is an end to causes, where painless eternity begins. He killed his senses, he killed his memory, he slipped out of his self into 1,000 different forms. He was animal, carcass, stone, wood, water, and each time he reawakened. The sun or moon shone. He was again self, swung into the life cycle, felt thirst, conquered thirst, felt new thirst. Siddharta learned a great deal from the Samanas. He learned many ways of losing the self. He travelled along the path of self-denial through pain, through voluntary suffering and conquering of pain, through hunger, thirst, and fatigue. He travelled the way of self-denial through meditation, through the emptying of the mind of all images. Along these and other paths did he learn to travel. He lost his self 1,000 times, and for days on end he dwelt in non-being. But although the paths took him away from self, in the end they always led back to it. Although Siddharta fled from the self 1,000 times, dwelt in nothing, dwelt in animal and stone, the return was inevitable. The hour was inevitable when he would again find himself in sunshine or in moonlight, in shadow or in rain, and was again self, and Siddharta again felt the torment of the onerous life cycle. At his side lived Govinda, his shadow. He travelled along the same path, made the same endeavours. They rarely conversed with each other apart from the necessities of their service and practices. Sometimes they went together through the villages in order to beg food for themselves and their teachers. "What do you think, Govinda?" Siddharta asked on one of these begging expeditions. "Do you think we are any further? Have we reached our goal?" Okay, girls, we'll leave it at that. Ons sien mekaar weer later vir nog 'n sessie. Ons gaan nou eers slaap. Goeienaand julle.